But all right. So it looks like we've got what 18 attendees so far. So I appreciate you guys' patience on this. I'm Beau Tillman. I'll be your host tonight. We're going to talk postseason mindset analysis and like summer and spring training, brought to you, of course, by Wrestling Mindset or Winning Mindset, the Winning Mindset. So we'll get going here. I'm going to turn my phone off here on silent, but again, I hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you're surviving the common themes and common threads of the world today with COVID and everything. Hopefully everyone's not shut down completely. It looks like California lost their state tournament, which is kind of a bummer, but I've got a team out there that are they're focused on the next best thing, right? And so this time last year we had some experience with what's the next best thing? What should we be focused on? What can we do moving forward? And it's really similar trends. We're postseason, we're going into freestyle. Our state tournaments are over. If we had those, our qualifiers are done, and we're kind of moving into getting ready for the next thing. And so, depending on the time of year and what you're focused on and what that next best thing is, in your future, will really determine how your training habits are going to be and what you do, periodizing for that in that cycle, in that training cycle. But we're going to talk. I'll kind of bounce back and forth with the freestyle idea, Fargo, and then just summer training, getting ready for the fall. But the big thing is, I think, to start with, at the end of your season, depending on whether you were a state champion or had reached your goals, or maybe you fell short of your goals, you really got to take a step back and have an honest self-assessment with yourself, right? If you have coaches or parents that are giving you feedback, try to be open-minded, remain coachable, and just hear them out, because we can learn from others, right? We can always learn from others. And but for ourselves, we really have to dig deep and think, where were my shortcomings? What is it that I need to work on to get better? Where are some areas that I can improve? These maybe aren't problems. We don't like to call them that in this company. Problems or issues, maybe challenges. What challenges do I need to overcome? Where can I improve, right? And so one thing, you definitely have to be real with yourself, right? I see it all the time. It seems like with kids in the past where there's a big fish in a small pond, and maybe either they achieve their goals or they fall short, but there's excuses and things, and now I'm going to take off for 3 or 4 months, and it's a little bit painful, but maybe there were some things that we didn't do throughout the year we could have done better. We could have maybe been more consistent, or shaped up some areas like nutrition and mindset and whatnot. But definitely have to be honest with yourself and understand that it can be humbling. Remember that, but taking 3 months off, 4 months off, it's really hard to do that. I couldn't imagine taking 3 or 4 months off from this company and just jumping in and giving a presentation or helping an individual one-on-one, even though I've been through the material so many different times over the last 3 years as a manager. It's just like anything, any skill, any trade, anything you do, you need to remain consistent with that and have a process and continue to grow and get better. But taking time off, it's okay, but maybe understand if it's needed for rest, recovery. If I'm banged up, I just need some time. I cut weight wrong, I cut weight hard. Cutting weight, I cringe when I hear that. But how did the season go? How am I feeling? Do I need time to reflect and analyze? How much time do I need? Do I need to set a boundary or a time limit on when I'm going to start this new process of reaching my goals, right? So going into goal setting, right? We have this assessment. We look at things. We have this gut check moment where I made up my mind that I'm not going to feel this again, or I'm going to make a difference, I'm going to make a change, and I'm going to grow. I'm going to come back better, and that's it. That's final. I've committed to that, right? That idea. I've taken the time to think about it. So, readjust your goals. Maybe you have the same goal you've been striving for years, and that's okay, right? Sometimes we have to maybe adjust our goals depending on where we're at, just to be realistic with ourselves. So have that main goal, put it down on paper, make sure you're writing it on paper. Again, 90% of the time, if you write it down on paper, you're going to be more successful just by transferring it to paper. It's a big part of our program. But then, also, we want to, more than that, we want to have, definitely a commitment. I mentioned, this is what I'm doing. This is my goal. I'm committed. I'm all in. Sign it. Sign and date your goal, right? If you're committed to this thing and you've given enough time to understand where you're at, what you need to do, and what's expected in reality, what you're going to have to go through to reach that goal, the good, the not so good, the adversity, the persistence in there, the hard work, the sacrifice that you get to do, right? You're choosing to do this, remember, but sign it and date it. Commit to that thing. It's a contract you're making with yourself. And you might have a 6-month goal, you might have a year goal, 5 years, 10 years, but we're continuing to just put down on paper what it is we want, and we're committing to that fully. Um, you know, after you set your goals, it's most important. These are outcome goals, of course, right? So outcome goals being your long-term goal. What I want out of this. What's the outcome going to be? What's the final destination in this journey of mine? But more importantly is our process goals, right? So what we're doing daily, what we're working on and focusing on daily here is really going to make the biggest impact. And I'm going to share my screen, and bear with me, guys. Full screen mode. That's a little better look. So as you can see, like for example, some material that we use with action plans for our process goals is, where do I need to improve? Where can I get better? We talked about this, off-season training, COVID situations, restrictions and things. What can I focus on to get better? What's my action plan? And this is part of that, right? So technically, I got to finish my shots. I got to get sharper. I need some more technique, speed, setups. I'm not moving the head. I'm not clearing ties. Not coming up off bottom. Maybe not mat returning. Whatever those areas are, just be open and honest with yourself. Look at those areas and make a list. Write it down. These are the areas that I need to improve on with my technique. Mindset, of course, mindset never stops. Right? There's no off season for mindset. It's a constant, something you've got to practice every day and condition. And so outside of just specific material, like with what we introduce to our clients and athletes and teams, just working through your workouts, mental toughness, conditioning, and those things, goal setting, right? We're talking about goal setting. That's mindset training. In the process of building confidence, how am I talking to myself? What are some affirmations I'm using daily? So these are all mindset things, and we've got to be, it's an important one, right? Strength. This time of year, maybe we're working on putting that muscle back on. We've been through the ringer, we've been through the grind, and we ran ourselves down, maybe malnourished a little bit, hopefully not, but it happens. We want to bulk. We want to build strength. We want to build explosiveness. Understand that when we're building strength, it's going to be functional strength, right? So you the old high school football coaches, forgive me if you're on, but like, I need you to, linemen and you guys, once you gain 30 pounds this summer, milkshakes, hot dogs, anything you can put in there, put it in your mouth, get it on there. We want 30 pounds on you by the time July hits. That's not maybe necessarily functional weight. So in wrestling, we want to gain weight maybe too, if we're in between weight classes. It's got to be functional, right? Explosive. Plyometrics is on our list here too. Plyos, good summer exercises, some conditioning, strength, core basic fundamental exercises for young kids. There should be, there should be two phases, right? One phase where it's a lot of teaching and technical things, making sure we're doing things right, and we're gearing them up through phase one to get them ready for a little tougher phase two. And these could be maybe, let's say, 2 6-week programs. That's 12 weeks. That's a pretty good stretch of time if you're going to periodize out your summer with everything else going on in our busy schedules. But 2 6-week phases, introduction, ramp them up, break them down, and then really get them ready to go going into the fall. So strength, definitely. Tendons, you're strengthening those in the process of lifting, strengthening those muscles and tendons, contractions, stretches, and things. There's information online where you guys can focus on tendons. But if we're lifting and working out, hopefully we're doing that. Plyometrics, always good. Flexibility. Nobody likes to stretch, right? I shouldn't say that. Not nobody, but you'd be surprised, right? So just be disciplined, understand how important that is. 1, for injury prevention. 2, for maximizing gains and recovery, and also just taking care of yourself, right? We run ourselves pretty hard in wrestling, and flexibility is a pretty important element that we need to introduce into our action plan. Make a list, write it down. When, where, what am I going to be stretching? What's that routine? Conditioning, of course, running, biking, swimming, hiking, anything you can think of. Moving a shovel. I'm in Kansas, so yard work and running fence posts and digging and things like that. It's a different kind of workout, but it's something that the variety is kind of nice. So what conditioning am I doing? What do I have? What's planned to help me with conditioning? Nutrition obviously is something we should practice for a lifestyle. This is This is not cutting weight. This is not a diet. This is a lifestyle. And we should implement that mindset for our kids, and try to practice that as well as adults and as coaches, and try to understand how important that is. I mean, you've got nutrition and mindset. That's where the edge is, guys. And it can become part of that lifestyle. And what am I eating that's helping me grow and get stronger? I need to be able to fuel and nourish my body so that I can recover and make the best gains. Now, I'm not talking supplements. That's something you need to talk to your physician about or other people in your area. But I'm talking just straight good raw vegetables, vitamins and minerals and things that you're taking, lots of water, all those things, just understanding and educating yourself on what works best based on what time of year and what sort of workouts you're doing. Educate yourself on that, or your children. Sleep, another one. It's a big one, right? Sleep routines. We'll talk a little bit about it. I've got a worksheet for you. Sleep's important. It helps with recovery, also helps with stress. Being in a routine, we don't want you guys sleeping in postseason or this summer, sleeping in until 10, 11 o'clock. We've got work to do, and we want to stay productive, right? So sleep and understanding what that routine is going to help you when you get into season. I mean, it's okay, maybe you're off from school to stay up a little bit late here and there, but have some boundaries, right? Have some discipline. Understand that this is going to help me to be the best me, 3, 4, 5 months from now. And so it is definitely part of that action plan. And then, of course, rest and recovery. Understand if we're working extremely hard when we need to, the difference between pushing through those walls and taking days to rest our minds and rest our bodies and our spirits and recover and have the most gains. And so based on age and what you're doing, that's something that is really important for the individual to know and be honest with yourself when I need to recover, if I'm overtraining, or if I need to motivate myself to push through the wall. I'm fine. I can do this today. But rest and recovery, definitely very important. So that's our action plan, guys. That's the first thing. We want to get that on paper. Goal setting, outcome goals, process goals. Again, if we can work on each of those different little elements, and you want to calendar that out, right? So have a schedule, have a calendar, have a structured system, a workout plan. You guys know these things, but put it on paper, right? And know that when I'm going to do certain things and how I'm going to implement and what times of day and what part of my routine these things are going to happen with my workouts, my summer baseball, other swim lessons, wrestling, tournaments, all that stuff, right? So make sure you structure it out. It definitely helps. Target habits, we'll talk about that in a minute. Mental toughness, right? So the other thing is mental toughness, motivation. So we have our goal, we have our process goals, and we're excited, we're amped up. We want to, accomplish these things next year, and then we get 2 weeks in, and then we kind of, start to deflate a little bit. And so the best part of building mental toughness through your workouts and understanding that you shouldn't always be comfortable. It shouldn't be comfortable most days through your workouts. So in that, understand that you're building mental toughness, working through your system on your routine schedules, and that's also helping you to stay task oriented, but your motivation and your purpose. So you need to understand, maybe bigger than your goal is like knowing your why. Why am I training this summer? Why am I starting right now, the day after the state tournament, and achieving my goal? Is it related to a pain link or a pleasure link? Feel that purpose. Feel that why. What does it feel like to reach your goal? Who's going to be there with you? Who's standing next to you? Who's sharing in that experience with you? Maybe it's not all about a gold medal or status, but something greater than that. About family or culture or community for yourself. And so I think if you can put yourself there and visualize what that means and what it, it's like test driving the car. If you want a Ferrari or that F-150, test drive it. Go sit in the seat. Picture yourself there, and believe it or not, you'll start seeing Ferraris every time you turn around. Right? So you'll do anything and everything to put yourself in a position that you can dream and you can feel. Right? So that's something that's working another part of the brain that helps reinforce that motivation to keep you going. So we think about our long-term goals when we're feeling deflated in the process, usually for a good kick in your rear, but we can also bank on that feeling or other things that motivate you. So know what those things are that motivate you. And maybe sometimes that's just music, motivational videos, movies, opponents outworking you, things like that. The pain of regret or the pain of falling short of your goals. Push on those things. Know when to do that, and know when it's important to use those to your advantage. Get you up off the couch and get you going. I know there's an experience I share with my athletes sometimes when I wasn't really that motivated. One day I went for a run. I got about half block down, and I thought, man, just not feeling it today. I think I'm going to go home. And I was kind of thinking about things and where I was at the moment. It took a minute to kind of acknowledge what was happening mentally. And so I did. I went home, and it took me 10 miles to get there. Right? So think about that. Some days we got to think about it and assess where we're at and what it is and why we're doing what we're doing, and just get that one foot forward, right? The first one, get a little bit of momentum. Before you know it, that one block turns into 2 blocks, turns into 5 miles, turns into 10 miles, and then you feel really good about what you did. So you got to know what's kicking inside and what will help you in those tough moments, right? Periodization, we talked a little bit about, periodizing that 6-week programs. Your training phases. If I'm going into freestyle right now, maybe you want to get it, we're in postseason going into freestyle, keeping you active, keeping you busy so you can learn different positions, footwork and throws, upper body, and, defense, gut defense even, defense on our feet, gut defense is going to help us with, fighting and changing over tight waists and things. In folk style, there's a lot of benefits to freestyle, guys. And then just staying active too. A lot of times it's not quite the grind that a lot of people think it is, and so they shy away from that because it's something that they view as bad or awful or tough. And I'm done for the season, man. But staying active. So try to compete before you get into your freestyle states. You've got clients that are in limbo before their postseason freestyle, which is already coming around the corner, and then I'm periodizing out towards another part of my training cycle that's preparing me maybe for a regional qualifier, and then moving into your cadet duals, cadet nationals, junior nationals in Fargo. And then from there, where are we going? So we're just kind of breaking and chunking things out and training and preparing moving forward right away, just getting better, at feeling better and competing better and growing a little bit at a time, right, to each one of these events. So you set standards and platforms for each one of those chunks, work towards that, sprint towards it, and then prepare for the next thing. So one thing at a time there. I mentioned there's no off seasons in mindset, and I'll share this with you. It's pretty cool. This is our mental mistakes diagram or picture, if you will, that just kind of goes into all the different areas. And so, I mean, there's different phases in our mindset training, guys. And there's regular season, there's postseason, there's off season, right? So the 2 phases primarily. When you talk about goal setting, mental toughness, maybe that's even just you're in an injury recovery phase. That could be both phases. Self-knowledge with yourself, just working on things. Clarity, going through technique and offense, getting more reps, being able to break things down. Maybe you're in a position where you can teach, and you're at camps with a coach or somebody where you can actually teach. And so by teaching, you're learning. And if you can break down techniques, you have more clarity with what those go-tos are and your positions that you're good at, that you're highlighting with your coach through those camps and clinics. Even you as a coach, guys, you guys are growing too. So parents, stay educated. But like you can see, there's 11 different mental muscles. If we're rewiring and recircuiting and conditioning our brain, imagine, how tough it is to develop, muscle memory with our shots and takedowns and technique. It's very similar to the brain. It's something that we can be proactive with, and you can recircuit and feed that positive side and start to condition. But let's not wait. What I'm saying is there's 2 phases, and so let's be prepared. And so our clients, we're just moving right into the postseason here, or the off season, and so that we're prepared and sharp and crisp and ready to go, and how we want to think and how we're going to react, what our action plans are with our mindset and scenarios. We're mentally focused. We're confident with our work and things. We're aware of these things, battling that wandering mind constantly with a structured approach. And so, your mind's always working, guys. If it's 90% mental, we need to definitely focus more on understanding that that's not a 3-month thing. Imagine how good and how sharp and how positive you feel with commands and affirmations in the postseason just by working for 3 months and peaking in that 3-month time. Now, imagine if you spent 10 or 12 months really focusing on keeping that mindset sharp in all the different areas, right? It's really pretty important. So don't downplay that. And we have people that go from wrestling to baseball. So with wrestling mindset, they go to baseball mindset, and we maybe go into football or cross country mindset. I had one kid once went into motocross. And motocross, and we talked mindset on that, you know. So we have all kinds of different things we can transition and use that as a vehicle to promote other sports as we go. But you don't reinvent the wheel, you know. So um, that's something to consider as well. So the mindset continues depending on no matter what sport or what activity you're focused on. Um, Mental toughness, you know, and in the off season, I remember growing up in the '80s and you know being in like South Central Kansas, kind of out in the middle of nowhere. I didn't have a whole lot of resources, and so I trained a lot, mostly on my own. I watched a lot of film, and people ask, you know, how would you have reacted, or would COVID have affected you? And other than just the downfall of maybe missing out on some events and things that I planned for, the training part probably wouldn't have stopped because um, the independence was something that was taught at a very early age. And so, you know, practice is only a couple hours a week out of, you know, a 24-hour day. And so practice for me was a chance to practice what I was practicing. And so I spent a lot of time, you know, working hard and doing just basic things like climbing rope, running hills, stairs, a lot of push-ups, some of that old-fashioned, old-school gritty stuff. Lifting weights, of course, but working hard and just really kind of pushing myself, pushing those limits, tracking that. But sometimes I noticed that I would get a little bit. I needed some variety, you know. And so one thing that we can do that we actually do as far as like, let me share here with you guys as far as like some variety and some mental toughness challenges, guys, it's just this 30-day. There we go. So courage of the day, and this is something that's great. It would have given me some variety because I was like just very focused on outworking people all the time, trying to stretch limits, doing things that were crazy, you know. So you definitely have to know, you know, what your chunk of your periodization that time is for, you know, that time frame. And if you've got Fargo coming up in 2 weeks, or in a week, we're probably not, you know, running a 10-mile run the day before we leave on the bus or something. So we want to be smart about this and structure this out. But, you know, having mental toughness challenges or courage moments, and I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be all workout oriented too. So these could be like raising your hand in class or applying for a job this summer, maybe volunteering or speaking up or teaching at a camp. I mean, things that maybe just kind of get you out of your comfort zone. So we're seeking out these opportunities to keep ourselves sharp. And so me now, as an old timer, 40 years old, you know, I'll set these little crazy challenges, and I'll just decide, you know, I'm going to do 100 pull-ups today. And I just, you know, it's kind of weird, but I want to keep and maintain that middle edge. I'm going to do 1,000 push-ups this weekend, or you know what, tonight I'm going to go run 8 miles. So, you know, just kind of setting these little goals and these little tasks to challenge myself, to have courage, and it, you know, leaves a pit in my stomach, which it should, right? Some of these things I know it's going to be a little bit grueling, but that's what I need. That's what I need for growth. That's what I need, because the more I put myself in those situations, the more I learn how to function, right? And that's what I'm doing. I'm learning how to function when I'm fatigued and when I'm tired. I'm working the mind. And so my reps start counting. When I say Ali says this, I think is a quote, you know, my reps start counting when I'm fatigued or when I become tired. And so I start counting. I'm kind of the same way. I like to live by that. That's when the work starts. And that's a year-round thing. But in the summer, find creative ways to maybe push yourself. And this is one thing we can do to help build mental toughness, is create a 30-day challenge, right? So maybe some of you as adults, even, you want to maybe lose a few pounds or get in better shape or change your eating habits. So we have some tasks and things, and we want to create a calendar for ourselves. This is what I'm doing. And so on day 4, oh man, it's the run. Day 18, oh man, you know, okay, today's the day. I got to do that 1,000 push-ups on a Sunday. All right, let's go. Now I've heard some kids too, they'll put they'll tear these up and they'll put them in a hat and they'll just, or a box, and they'll draw these out. Today, there's 30 pieces of paper. They'll draw it. Okay, today's my 50 lap swim or something. Or today I have to ask that girl to prom. Oh man, so silly little things, but everyone has different courage moments that we need to seek out, and to help with mental toughness. So one thing I didn't say, guys, if you have any questions as we go, feel free to chat. Send me a message. I'll answer questions. I want to try to move through this quickly, but not leave anything out, but just give you enough good quality in a good amount of time that I don't lose your focus. So if you have any questions or any comments, please feel free to share. All right, so let's talk about routines. All right, so routines, there we go. That's the sleep routine. Routines are important, okay, especially in the summer. I know I've been looking at things for my 13-year-old to do to just kind of keep her proactive and busy throughout the summer, so that she's not being lazy and just sitting around. I want her, she's not quite old enough to get a job yet, but she plays volleyball. She's a good student. She reads and things like that, but I've got some chores and some other things for her to do, but I want her engaged. I want her to keep exercising the mind. But having structure, you parents and coaches know, having structure, having a routine is good. I mean, it's helps with just feeling productive. Also, it helps quiet the mind with things. I know where I'm going. This is my goal. Here's my process goals. Here's my action plan. But you want to definitely make sure that you have all these things on paper, so that you know that these camps are happening here. We don't want all the chaos. We want them to know, also to help them periodize. But your monthly routine, these are the things and the events that are coming up. Weekly, these are the things and workouts and camps and mindset sessions that you're doing. And then daily, having a calendar and having things down, so that even just reminders, goal reminders, thankfulness reminders, and things that you can have on your phone as part of that routine, so that you can help reduce stress and just be proactive, right? We want to be productive, be proactive, and just do the work. But you got to have a system. I had a client earlier this week where we talked about, he's already got his summer planned out. School's not out, but we've got a summer planned out. We've talked about, we've got, like I mentioned, these camps, these practices, my 4-H things that are coming up weekly throughout these different months, ACT prep and stuff like that. So we've got a structure plan, and he feels so good about it. He feels great. He's like, I just feel like I can take a deep breath, because it was just too much going on. I was getting overwhelmed with everything that's happening this spring and the summer, and what I need to do to get better. And so we just put it all on a calendar, right? And he's just like, man, this is great. I feel like I could just put things down and go work or go chill or something until my next task comes up. So I'm prepared, so being prepared and having routines, they help quiet the mind. It's all like the 3 C's. If we have a routine and we're structured, then we're in control, right? And if we're in control, mostly in control, then we're more comfortable. And if we're more comfortable, then we're probably feeling more confident. So we want to maintain confidence to some extent in one area or another all year round, right? So in the off season, there's different things we can do. One, to help their confidence in wrestling, but just as an individual, having good self-esteem and self-confidence, and having a routine and things that you're doing throughout the day, you feel productive. You don't feel like a slob. And these things can lead to depression. You guys understand also with isolation and COVID, just how much havoc that can wreak on us. And so having a routine and having structure in that process, you saw firsthand just how important that was to your well-being. And so you can understand then how important that is for your kids to have a routine in everything that they're doing. It doesn't have to be like micromanaged to a point where we're dictators in this whole situation, but I think it does definitely help to have something where they can see things on paper and just quiet the mind a little bit. We know that as adults. I know where I'd be without my calendar on my phone, right? So it's definitely good to have. I can stay in the present and stay productive and positive in doing so. The other thing too, guys, the next thing is like being consistent. So in this process, right, our process goals and our routines and stuff, we want to try to be as consistent as possible, be in control of that, and being consistent and trying to see gains. We're in this instant gratification society where we expect to see, we want to reach our goals, right? So these improvements are going to be gradual, right? They're going to be gradual, and they could be just small improvements that sometimes you'll get a few weeks down the road and feel like I'm not seeing any results. I haven't lost any weight, even though maybe you're building muscle, and so it looks like you're not losing weight, right? Check the mirror instead. The little things like journaling, having some sort of a measurement system, setting those goals, and understanding that sometimes these gains are very, very minor, and it's a gradual process. And so be very patient, but be consistent. Be consistent in feeling good, the things that you do well to help you to feel good, right? So you know, like with nutrition and sleep and your recovery and the workouts that you do, you're putting out, you feel great about that, and you want to be doing things consistently that help to keep your energy high. We're not going to live every day probably where your energy is going to be at a 10 like you like to have it at, but we can get good at trying to stay in that groove, right? And then also being aware of the things that are setting us back, right? And helping, or not helping us, but causing us to not feel so good, right? So being consistent, right? Getting good at feeling good so that you can compete or perform good or be productive. I know, as an example, I'm very consistent in my routine, in my nutrition and sleep, and the things I do, right, throughout the day, because I know certain things like food and the times I'm eating, sugar and things like that cause my blood sugar to do this. And so based on my routine and what I'm doing, I want to maximize my energy and my productiveness. And so I know pretty much what those things are to help. And I know the things that can bring me down, right, that make me have longer, tougher afternoons, brain fog, fatigue, just feeling tired and not as positive, And so get good at feeling good so that you can perform or be productive, right? So consistency in that, but give yourself some time, right? Give yourself some time to see those minor results. You'll see those things, but 3 to 5 weeks seems like a long time. But that first week's probably going to be the toughest in developing a routine or targeting some of those habits that we're needing to change or improve. But 3 to 5 weeks, and you'll start seeing energy change, your mood, your attitude, those sort of things. And when we start to notice those, that should help go back to what we talked about earlier, like motivation. So when we're seeing results, even if it's just a little bit, that should help motivate us. We should anchor to that. We should consume that and understand, what did I do? What have I been doing? What is it about today that I feel so great? And try to take note of that, journal it, and then try to mimic, that preparation, so that you can consistently do that, and then add variety as you need it, right? So be consistent. I said sleep, right? Sleep, with your sleep, nutrition, your attitude, your mindset, positive self-talk, affirmations, motivation buttons, things that you need to do to keep your energy high. The more and more you do this, the more it will become routine that you'll condition and start to rewire, and it will become more habit, right, than like a task or something that I have to do, or I'm forcing myself to do. It won't be so much of a discipline, but you will be disciplined, right? So stay consistent in those things. Consistency is the key to seeing results, right? But again, it's going to be gradual throughout your summer training. You're not going to see these significant results probably right away, and that can be a real tough thing for people to manage. And so again, if you're journaling and keeping track and having a measurement system, you can go back. Maybe we're not competing, right? So I've been running and lifting and doing all these things, and I have my action plan, my flexibility and stuff, and I just feel like I'm not getting any better. And then maybe I go back and I look at my journal when I started in May, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot when I started. When I was running 1.5 miles, like that was a pretty rough day. I forgot that was pretty tough. I'm running 5 miles now. And it's kind of tough, but it's still tough. But that's growth, right? That's growth, and that's improvement. And so if you go, let's say you focus on getting 1% better each day, and that's really not a whole lot, but sometimes that takes effort, right? And we can set reminders for ourselves to get 1% better each day in our action plan and the different elements, or just as a person, as an individual. And I'm pushing myself that's not necessarily striving for excellence, but over time it is, right? So when I say today I'm striving for excellence, I'm getting 1% better. Well, over time that compounds. So if you figure that 1% trend every day for 365 days, it's like compound, it's like 37% better. If you figure I left the state tournament third place and I lost in overtime by a takedown in the semis because I didn't finish my shot because I was a little bit weak or whatever, the little things. I figure if you were 37% better next year, that would make a huge difference, I'm sure. And I think we can all learn from that, you know, in our daily lives, in our work as a parent, as a coach, you know, striving to get better and just be better by 1% each day, and compounded that adds up. So look for and seek out and be sensitive to those little changes, right? Those little improvements, those little wins for the day. So maybe today, just for today, I'm going to get one win. Whatever it is, my objective is for today. I'm getting one win in this workout, in this this diet, my attitude, my approach, my feedback as a boss. I'm gonna get a win today, and if we can do that, that's great. That's you're winning the process, right? And so each day we set those mini goals and just try to improve by 1%. It adds up, right? We want to compound that, get on a roll. You're gonna have setbacks and days. They're gonna be very tough. That's life, and we know that. We've learned that through wrestling, we learned that through parenting and coaching, and just life in general. But that's where the word changes from being consistent to being persistent, right? Be persistent with your consistency. Be persistent through the tough moments, through those obstacles. So you have an obstacle, you have a tough day, you're feeling tired and run down, then understand where you're at. Understand and acknowledge where you're at and what that adversity is, and try to find gratitude in it. Knock that wall down. How is this going to make me better by working through this obstacle? Become the obstacle, right? It becomes a way. So many paths lead to the mountaintop. Choose yours and climb. You're going to find problems. Focus on solutions. We need those tough days to grow, right? 1% might be like climbing a mountain some days, but we definitely need this. So be persistent in the climb. It's definitely a journey, but it's going to probably be a slower process than what we hoped for, right? But that's part of it. It's part of the magic. That's part of the great thing is when we look back on our journey and what we learned through that process every day of grinding for that 1%, that's really rewarding. Most times more rewarding than just the gold medal or the pay increase or whatever it is your goal is, you know, in life and in wrestling. So understand that you're in the journey, embrace the grind, and 1% at a time. Acknowledge those feelings and be persistent, right? So overcoming barriers. So that kind of leads us to overcoming barriers, right? That just having a tangible measurement system that helps us, you know, if we're not competing, we can see by journaling and in our workouts where we started, where we are, looking for that, being sensitive to feeling and understanding in the present, I'm achieving my goals right now. It's 3 months from now, but right now I see it. I feel it. I'm achieving my goals. That's exciting. I've had moments of overwhelming, joy-filled tears on late night runs in December when a state tournament wasn't until March. In Kansas here, I was a 3-timer and a runner-up. And I did a lot of stuff on my own, like I talked about earlier. So there's a lot of things you can do outside of the room and on your own, staying motivated and working hard and working through those tough 1% days to help you and your kids to have success. But you got to have something to remind you, one, why, what's your purpose, having a measurement system of any sort if you can, if you're not competing, and then journaling and staying process-based, right? So chunking time out and focusing on one chunk at a time, 6 weeks, 3 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, and that's going to lead me to where I need to be. Periodization, guys, if you don't know about it, look it up, do some research on that. But you know, if you're having troubles and you're having troubles like breaking down some of those barriers and figuring out, you know, what it is that's really going to help me and that I can target, try to think of and analyze those disciplines that you're lacking or you need to improve on, like maybe sugar or athletes, if you're, you know, vaping or doing things you shouldn't be doing, drinking beer on the weekends and out of the summer. That's the other thing with structure and a plan. Parents, once the season's over and they're not with their groups or in their schools or their support group, we can get distracted. It's really easy to get distracted by peer pressure and things. So knowing your boundaries, morals, values, beliefs, having a structured system to keep you focused and engaged on your goal, not becoming stale, is going to be very important for your kids. And I mean, even for us as adults too. You know, it's summertime, time to barbecue. Let's get a nice cold. And there's a lot of things. Seasons change, we get out of our routines. Seasons change, we get out of our structure, and our habits change, right? And so we want to be disciplined. So target those habits, right? Find what they are, and then seek out that 1% or getting better at attacking that habit. Knowing when you know you're wanting to engage in, oh man, I really want some ice cream, and it's 9:30, but you set a task that maybe no food after 9 p.m. And so be disciplined in that. Like if I'm setting structured and rules for myself and policing myself, holding myself accountable like that. I'm really in a snacky mood. I would like to get a bowl of ice cream, and I noticed it's 9 o'clock or 9:30. I can't. I mean, I'm going to be disciplined tonight, maybe tomorrow, right? And so maybe that's something that you guys focus on. Targeting those habits, whether it be technique, mindset, if you're thinking negative thoughts or afraid thoughts, catch yourself and acknowledge that wandering mind and start practicing, getting reps, right? So affirmations, that could be stretching. Again, in your action plan, target those areas. I put it on my action plan. I want to stretch after I work out or after I run. I haven't been doing that. I want to police myself, hold myself accountable, and work on that. Set some goals, break it down, so that, or maybe you do it before you run, so that you're not tired and fatigued, and all you want to do is sit down and get a drink of water, and you're like stretching and abs is the last thing I want to do right now. So maybe you would have to adjust, right? Target those little things. Focus on habits, little habits, and the not so good habits that we do. You know what those things are. If you don't, start paying attention to them and seek them out. I did fail to mention one thing that I wanted to also touch on, guys, which is gosh dang it, I just had a blank again. Accountability, right? So we talked about losing track of our structure and routines and things in this summer. So when we talk about goal setting, the one thing I wanted to talk about too with goal setting was sharing your goals, right? Put them up on a wall where you can look at them, like 5 places you can look at them. We're going to see them every day as a reminder. If it's not ingrained right in here, right, or in here, but go public with your goals, right? Who are you going to tell? Like, we need to make sure people are aware of what it is that we're engaged in, what our passion is. Like teachers, or we're out of school, parents, our buddies, you know, or our girlfriend or boyfriends, bosses, mentors, pastors. So like we can share and go public with our goals with people. One, we have a support system. And what's interesting is that I have something like this in different areas of my life, right? In my circle of my support system, where at different times of the day, I have people that are aware of what my goals are. And so it's a process, almost, you know, well, except for maybe 8 hours a day when I'm sleeping, I have people that are supporting or holding me accountable, right? So that's the other part is accountability. And if we're public with our goals, and we have people that care for us, that are going to support us and be with us then in that process, then it helps with accountability and reminding us of what we committed to, or maybe if we're lacking in an area. So with your goal setting, try to figure out when and where or who you're going to go public with your goals. And so I would encourage you to have that support group and know who those people are that are going to hold you accountable. And maybe have an accountability buddy. You know, you have a system. Your workout is much easier and probably funner to work out with a partner or a teammate or somebody. Maybe I've got clients that are wrestlers that are teamed up with cross-country runners from their school. They're best friends, and they go run together. They live together. They're in completely different sports, but they train together, and they're holding each other accountable. You know, hey, where you at, man, dude? They're texting probably. Where you at? It's 7 o'clock. Man, you're supposed to meet me here so we could run. Hey, we had a lift today. What's up? Or, hey, where you at? Oh, I'm at this party. Dude, why are you at a party? You know, it's kind of like not part of our boundaries, right? Like we agreed that we were going to just like keep it clean. So what's up? It's not. Is that moving you closer to your goal or further from your goal? What if you get in trouble or something? You know, so it's good to have that sort of thing. And sometimes parents and coaches maybe not always know. We know a lot of things going on, but not in a position where we can act right away. So having someone close to you like a friend or a peer that can hold you accountable is pretty beneficial, and it's important. So that's something I would add with your goal setting as well. Well, we've been at almost an hour here, guys, and so I rambled off a bunch of material and a lot of things. And I hope you guys get some good use out of it. Um, I know that these things have helped me in my process, my journey through college, through high school, with this company, the things that we talk about with our mentors, the Zanettis, what they condition us with, and the things they talk about is, we practice it, and it's very beneficial. We incorporate it into our lives as coaches, as families and things. And so I hope you guys had enjoyed your time here. I would say that if you guys, anyone's interested, in maybe bringing one of us into like your local club or a school as a guest, maybe a webinar or a free presentation on a topic of your choice, like predator mindset or nervousness or goal setting, leave an email, right? Maybe in the chat, put your email in there. I'll follow up with you. I'll probably reach out to you guys anyways, just to kind of get some feedback on how I did. It's just, what could I improve on? I want to get better, so I'll probably reach out to you guys, see if you could spare a few minutes to talk about mindset and how I can improve and what maybe I left out. But if any of you have any questions, let me know now. I'll do the best I can. If not, if you're interested in maybe bringing us in on one of these, leave your email. If not, I'll follow up with you. Maybe we can talk and chat later about how to help you or your athlete or child improve and gain that mental edge. So appreciate you guys. That's all I've got. I'll hang out here for a little bit, but you're welcome to go. So thank you very much. Yes, injury. I see that a lot. Injury recovery, believe it or not. And that's a tough one. Thank you. Yes, Olivia, appreciate that. I hope it was helpful. Thank you. I will get in touch with you guys. We can do injury recovery specifically with the group if you want. Shoot me an email here, leave it on there if you want, or reach out to us if you would rather do that. Let me know. We do a lot of service things for people. Obviously, we want to make this a long-term commitment, but if we can help or come in specific with a group, get in front of your AD or a club member, a coach, or your athlete personally, if it's just a one-on-one thing, we do those sort of situations as well. So appreciate you guys.